Hey everybody, Josh Hannaberry here
And Avery Hannaberry.
with the Truck Focus Podcast.
Today, we are recording another episode for the Youthful Take on Transportation series. That is all about educating youth and teens on the different opportunities within the trucking industry. In today's episode, I interview Shelley Walker, who's someone who is having an incredible impact in the transportation industry. Check out the episode to learn more.
We also wanted to give a huge shout out to our sponsors, Compliance Box. So Compliance Box, transport compliance made easy. So the owner of Compliance Box, KCAN Safety Consulting, huge industry leaders, and we're just super grateful for the impact that they're having on our journey, as well as Shelley and the Women's Trucking Federation of Canada. You can learn more about Compliance Box by visiting www.compliancebox.ca.
Well, let's get to it. Good day, Shelley, and welcome to the series, A Youthful Take on Transportation. I am super excited to have the opportunity to interview you today.
Thanks for having me on the show, Avery. I've been looking forward to talking to you.
Yeah, no problem. And before we get started, I just wanted to say how much I appreciate what you do as you operate as a professional professional over the road, as well as how many different people in the trucking industry, and I am super excited to learn from you today.
Thank you.
Yeah. So can you share with us who is Shelley Walker and just what do you do in the trucking industry?
Shelley Walker does a little bit of this, that, and everything. Now, I haven't been driving for the last little while, except for an occasional jaunt here and there, because I've been focusing on issues that are affecting drivers right now in the industry. All the stress and pressures from COVID, as well as some issues on human trafficking, a training program that we're running to hopefully put forth some better drivers out into the workforce.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So you said that you took a little break from driving just to help the truck drivers and just with the stress of the pandemic and everything?
Yes, it was, there's been a lot on the plate and a lot of government meetings and things, and it's a little hard to do that from the truck. So it was time to stay at home and be more vocal.
Cool. Do you plan on going back on the road anytime soon?
I don't have any plans for it right away. I still have my license, so I still have the opportunity. I'm still employed at Sharp Transportation, so it's just a matter of giving a phone call and saying, "Hey, can I do a trip?"
Yeah. So you said that you're helping truck drivers with all the stress of everything right now. So what do you think is the toughest part that drivers are facing as of right now?
Lack of respect.
Oh.
Okay, they don't feel respected by anybody. They're feeling worse and worse all the time. It is driving many of our drivers out of the industry. And it's not just job stress, it's stress from the general public, it's stress about how they're being treated when they try to go to any type of medical appointment still, lack of washrooms still. These are some very severe issues, and nobody really seems to be listening to them.
Wow. So this is a youthful take on transportation, and what do you think youth can do to help drivers feel more respected?
Well, we're trying to, bring awareness to the general public about just what drivers do. The onset of the pandemic, there was all this fear, and there was drivers for months who never went home to their families. I mean, they were literally sleeping in their trucks and yards. Can you imagine coming home to your own terminal and being locked out of the terminal because you're a driver and they were worried you might affect the office staff?
That's insane.
I know, but it is a reality.
That's saying that's really tough because a lot of people don't see how many people don't see what drivers do over the road and how they deliver supplies, they deliver the needs, and deliver the things that we need in our lives to stay healthy, to stay stable, and it's surprising how many people don't see what drivers do in the industry.
It is, and it's not just the general public, Avery. It's carriers that don't recognize what their drivers do, right?
Oh,
They don't seem to realize, like, if their drivers were still out there moving freight, they don't have a job either, right? So we need to fix what's broken in the industry. And if we don't fix these issues that are broken, how do we bring young people like yourself in, right? How do we do
yeah.
that when our industry is broken? You know, it used to be a thing. I'm the daughter of a truck driver. My dad was very proud of the fact that he drove a truck for a living. Now you have drivers that as soon as one of their kids say, you know, hey, dad, or hey, mom, I think I'd like to drive a truck. We say to them, no, you're not. No, you're not. You find something else to do. Right? Drivers are afraid to tell their friends what they do for a living because there's so much backlash going on to drivers these days. You know, and we
Wow.
talk about safety and on-road safety. We talk about truck training. If you take a really good look at all the players discussing all these issues, let me know if you see a driver sitting at the table, right? So
Yeah.
until drivers' voices are brought to the table, it's all one-sided. So drivers are starting to see it as just a whole bunch of suits making decisions about their lives. I'm the
Wow.
person that's out on the road with the unsafe drivers. I have to work with them. So I see more than you would see if you were sitting in an office. Right? And I think sometimes people forget, even our own companies, that we all have children, we have grandchildren, we have nieces and nephews. We don't want those drivers out on the roads with our families. So
Yes. Yes.
we need to fix these issues. You know, everybody likes to talk about a driver shortage. There is no driver shortage. Okay. The turnover in this industry is out the roof. If companies learn how to retain their drivers, they wouldn't have the shortage they claim that they have. If you treated your drivers with respect, with proper pay, right? With proper home time, with concern about their health and well-being, we wouldn't have the mess that we have right now. And I'm
Right.
afraid this is just the tip of the iceberg, what we're seeing.
Yeah. My dad always says that. My dad has the quote that you are more than just a driver. They are people. They have families. They have friends. They're not just drivers.
That's right. And it's so very true. Your dad's a wise man. You can learn a lot from him, Avery. But, you
Yeah.
know, don't get me wrong, Avery. I love this industry and I'll keep being vocal and I'll keep fighting for change because that's just part of my makeup. Right. But we also need to work on fixing what's broken and we need to do it together. Right.
Yes.
There can't be any of this, you know, governments and associations and carriers. It needs to be all of that and drivers. We all need to be sitting at the table. We all
Yes.
need to be able to talk freely. Of course, there's going to be many things that we don't agree on, but you need to be respectful, right? Because
Right.
even if I don't agree with you, I can still respect your opinion.
Yes. Have you always wanted to help drivers before this issue happened?
Yes, I did, but I just didn't know how to go about it.
Okay.
And I'm still learning. Every day is a new learning thing for me. So, you know, people say that when you drive a truck, you're always learning. I don't think it matters what you do in life. You're always learning. And when you stop learning, you need to sit back and reevaluate because nobody ever knows it all.
Yes. So with this problem going on, do you think that there's anything that me as a youth or any other youth can do to help improve the problem?
I think that from a youth point of view, I think you need to start. I would like to see trucking back into the schools. I would like to see where not just drivers are coming in and talking, but dispatchers, safety and compliance. There's so many areas of our industry, and you can grow within it, right?
Yes.
Right. I have a young lad that I know. He started in the wash bay at a trucking company, right? Then he went into the warehouse, and now he's been driving for like 12 years now, and he absolutely loves it. If we don't start bringing youth in to learn about our industry, how do they know about us? Right? The only thing they know about us is every accident pic that's shown on TV or in a newspaper or online. Right? So we need to change that image. And by doing that, we need to get back into the schools. It's the only way we're going to change that.
Yes. And it's funny because with this youthful take, my dad and I's goal, my dad and I's goal was to go speak into schools and teach many different youth, teenagers, young adults about the trucking industry and how they can see what drivers do every day and their everyday lives.
Yes, and that's great, and I really hope that out in your area it takes off and that we can get more areas involved. I think one of the benefits right now of COVID is that we've all learned how to do things like we are right now, right?
Right.
And so you can bring in people from all over the world now on a simple Zoom meeting. So we have the opportunity to reach a lot of people. It just doesn't seem to be that we're utilizing it.
Yes. And a lot of people aren't taking those steps to achieve and see in the light like how we have been. And it's hard knowing that a lot of truck drivers aren't getting the respect that they deserve for what they do to help us in our everyday lives.
It is, and sometimes it just seems like it falls on deaf shoulders. I've had to call places like the College of Physicians and Surgeon, the College of Optometry, the Dental College, because the driver couldn't get in for an appointment. I had a driver who ended up, the closest dentist I could find him was 4 hours away from where he lived that would see him after making hundreds of phone calls. And he had an abscess in his mouth, which could have been very deadly for him, right?
Yeah. Were people just not letting him in just because he was a truck driver, or how come people weren't letting him in?
Because he crossed the border.
Oh.
So anybody that's been out of the country for 14 days, once you say yes, they won't let you in.
Wow.
Like we have drivers right now that are waiting for medical procedures who've had to stay home for 14 days in order to go in and get the testing done to go for their procedure.
Wow.
Right. Who can afford to lose 14 days of pay?
And it's hard too because truck drivers are essential in our everyday lives because they help bring the supplies that we need. Because if truck drivers weren't essential, we wouldn't even be doing this podcast right now. We wouldn't have the supplies we need to be able to do this.
Very true. Very true. And I think a lot of people just don't think about it. I was at an event where a lady had nothing nice to say about truck drivers. This was a non-trucking event. And I said to her, "You have no use for truck drivers." And she says, "No." I says, "Well, do you want to take your clothes all off?" She's like, "Excuse me?" I said, "Well, they came on a truck. So if you have no use for a truck driver, then take your clothes off and get off that chair you're sitting on because that came on a truck too. Oh, by the way, your purse came on a truck."
Yes.
Right? The wood for your house came on a truck, right? People don't understand that.
Yeah. And I always say that my quote I always say is, if you got it, a truck brought it. If truck drivers didn't exist, and if everything you have right now, you wouldn't have it. Your clothes, your toys, your TV, your food, nothing. You wouldn't have it.
That's true, and too many people just they don't see that. For whatever reason, they still don't see it. They're like, "Of course I would, because I just go down to the store and I buy it."
Yes. And many people don't notice they don't see the steps that it takes to get the supplies to the store for them to buy as consumers. And our mission is to share that message loud and proud.
Thank you. We need more people doing what you're doing, Avery.
Thank you. And I just love that what you're doing. It's just incredible, and it's so powerful, and it's also hard too because knowing that not a lot of truck drivers aren't getting the respect that they deserve, and you're trying to help fix that is just incredible. So just thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So as this podcast comes to a close, do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with us today?
I think, if you're out there and you see a truck driver, say thank you. It goes a long way.
Yes.
And we say that, we haven't, as drivers, when I first started out driving, I would see kids pump their arm for me to honk my horn. It's not something we see too often anymore. Right. So we need to get that back out there. We need to show our drivers that they are supported, that, not all of us hate them.
That's very awesome because you said that a lot of kids are doing the arm pump thing to honk, for you to honk your horn, and that's so cool because 2 days ago I was playing with my friend Alex. We were playing basketball outside, and there was a bunch of trucks coming down, and we did the arm pump thing, and they all honked their horns for us. So that was pretty cool.
Drivers love it when we see that. We love it.
Yeah. It was just awesome, and we'd always wave at them whenever they come by. We'd always get out of their way whenever, because our basketball hoop is where they go to get the other load. So we'd always wave them as they drive on the road.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
I'm sure they appreciate that.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool too because I think, and they're not outside right now, but they will be working on it pretty soon. So hopefully we can do the same arm pumping again.
That'd be really great.
Yeah.
Get your dad to film it so that you can put it out there.
Yeah. We have a GoPro, so it'd be cool if we can just GoPro the trucks going by and honking their horn, and that'd be pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on this podcast. It was incredible to hear what you do and how you're helping fix the problem with truck drivers not getting enough respect and not being able to do certain things because they're over the border or they haven't been in the same place for 14 days. And just thank you so much for what you do.
Well, and I think the more of us that get the message out here, like myself, like you and your dad, we can make a difference. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yes.
But I'm positive that eventually we are going to have a positive impact on this industry.
Yes. We need that pivotal change in the industry right now.
Yes, we do.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shelley, for taking the opportunity for me to interview you today. And it was awesome to hear your story and what you do in the industry. And thank you so much. It was just an honor to interview you today.
Well, thanks for having me on. I was so excited when I got the invite from your dad. So it's a pleasure to actually meet you in person while virtually and getting the chance to talk to you. And I'm sure one day when COVID is more under control and I get out to Alberta, I will stop and say hi.
Yeah. Oh, I'm waiting for that day to finally shake hands with you. And yeah, it was so cool to do this episode with you, and I really hope that we can do another episode later in the future. I'd love to do one again.
Anytime, Avery. You reach out to me anytime. I'd be happy to do it with you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Shelley, for joining me for an interview today. I really respect your passion to protect professional drivers and... sorry.
It's okay. 3, just take your time. There's no rush. And those are just use your words.
Okay.
But yeah, just remember the respect is the big thing because that's the biggest takeaway for today's episode.
Okay.
Go up. 3, 2, 1.
Thank you, Shelley, for joining me for an interview today. I really respect your passion and help professional drivers, and I learned a lot today. I would say the most important thing that I learned today is that we, as the general public and people, need to respect professional drivers. and help make sure that receive the essential needs that we all deserve. Remember, we are not just our job titles, but we are people, families, friends, and yeah, we are just people. We're not just a job title, we are also people. Thank you again, Shelley. I really appreciate your time today.
Huge, Avery. And yeah, huge shout out to our sponsors again, Compliance Box. So Compliance Box owned by KCAN Safety Consulting. Super impressed just with their constant focus on being, I guess, supportive of our journey, as well as Shelley and the Women's Trucking Federation of Canada. So again, you can learn more about Compliance Box by visiting www.compliancebox.ca. Huge shout out again. Really appreciate all of the support. And yeah, it's just been awesome. And again, Shelley, thank you so much for today. You and Avery did an awesome job. And I completely agree. It is all about respect, and we need to respect the profession, but that also goes further than just saying I respect. It also means that we're protecting, we're helping, we're advocating for when professional drivers need something, we help them. If it's calling 15 people, if it's calling 1,000 people, we're there, we're here to help. And Shelley, honestly, we really respect that about yourself. We really respect that that's what your mission is, that the Women's Trucking Federation of Canada, it's just huge. And we just really are grateful for your time today. So thank you to all of our dedicated listeners. And if this is the first time that you've ever listened to a Truck Focus podcast, thank you so much. Just honestly, greatly appreciate all of your support. And I really believe that you got a lot of value out of today. So if you're listening to this on a podcast platform, I do ask that you subscribe, so that way you're notified of all of upcoming episodes. We do at least once a week, sometimes 3 times a week now, we're releasing episodes. So this way, when you hit subscribe, you're notified of all upcoming episodes. If you are watching this on YouTube, same thing. After you subscribe, hit the notification bell, so that way you're notified of all of upcoming episodes. Again, just thank you so much, because the greater the following, the greater the impact. If you've not yet done so, I do recommend that you sign up to our monthly newsletter. The newsletter is all about connecting our industry leaders to industry. So people just like Shelley that are creating a huge impact in our industry. It's just in a different way. So sometimes it's how to, it's a guide, it's an infographic, it's a promotion or a coupon, but there's lots of value there. So sign up, the same thing, follow the links below. And again, we just really appreciate all of your support. So as we just continue to live out our day, I hope that it's a great day, and let's create a pivotal impact. Bye.
Bye.